Hi everyone, I hope you're all okay. So today I wanted to talk about something that I have been asked so many times in my DMs on Instagram, and that is how to find your style after having a baby. I had my little girl almost 2.5 years ago now, so January 2021 was when I gave birth, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, it has been an absolute roller coaster for so many reasons, but I think something that I really wasn't prepared for was how I would feel as a person and my, just everything, like my style, my personality, just how crazy it has been since becoming a mum and trying to navigate myself in this new kind of situation. And it's definitely something that I've struggled with, and I think it's something that most mums struggle with. So it's something that I do get asked a lot, and I'm going to let you into a secret and let you know that I don't personally think I have found my style. Like, I still have wobbles where I'm not sure what to wear, and maybe I don't feel confident enough, or not sure if something suits me, or I have a bit of a kind of identity crisis or a little bit of a breakdown. So I kind of feel like I don't think anyone personally finds their style, just because I feel like we're always evolving and changing, so life's too short to kind of box yourself into one style. Yeah, just dropping that pressure that you feel like you have to find a certain style would probably be like my tip number one. But I would definitely say, like, before we begin, one of the things you definitely need to do is to just give yourself time. Like, I've had messages from mums who have literally just given birth being like, I don't know what to wear, I don't know what style to wear, like, help me with my postpartum dressing. And it's kind of difficult because when I was in my very early postpartum days, we were in lockdown, so I wasn't going anywhere. I was literally just sitting around the house, doing nothing. You know, it wasn't until Penelope was about 4 or 5 months old that things started to ease up a little and I could start to take her out. So I always really struggled with what to suggest for people to wear, because I didn't really have to think about my outfits. Definitely give yourself time, first of all, because you have literally just given birth. But I also understand, especially if you are like me, if you had a bit of a stressful pregnancy, if you had a traumatic birth, if other things have gone on and maybe your mental health isn't, tip top. I think one thing that you do is you try to gain control of any aspect of your life that feels controllable. And for me, that definitely felt like outfits and fashion and things like my weight. So I completely understand why so many mums are desperate to kind of get back into styling themselves and changing outfits. And also, you're kind of sick of the sight of your maternity stuff. Like, I couldn't really look at my maternity items. I didn't want to look at my maternity leggings. I was so done with them. I wanted to be back in, normal clothes, but it was obviously difficult because none of my clothes fitted me. And also because of my injuries, like after birth, quite a few things weren't comfortable, which is a similar case for a lot of women who have given birth. So it is like really difficult trying to navigate it all, but I would say trying to just drop that pressure of give yourself time. You have just been through something major, and I know you are trying to control things because everything else feels so out of control, but I feel like adding pressure to yourself to get back into your jeans, or thinking that you should be looking absolutely amazing to go to baby club or to the hospital or whatever, is just putting pressure on yourself that you don't need. So I definitely would say that to kind of start with. It's really hard because I would say probably in the first year for me, I didn't really know who I was anymore. I kind of felt like I would have my baby and go back to pre-pregnancy me. And I don't know if some people do that, but every single mum that I've spoken to, and obviously myself, that hasn't happened. And it's quite a shock to the system because you don't quite expect it. And I will say, nothing can prepare you for how you're going to feel after you have your baby. Like, everyone's situation is different. So definitely giving yourself time. And it took me a good year to kind of feel like myself again, and not even to feel like myself, but to get used to this new person. Because I think that's another thing, is dropping the expectation that you are going to feel like you did pre-pregnancy. Instead, you're this new person now. You have this whole new perspective on life. You have a whole new priority. You have a whole new routine. And I think it's unfair to expect us to want to go back to pre-pregnancy. Like, when I think about pre-pregnancy me, I think I'm just a completely different person now. And I am absolutely fine with that. And I have gotten to know the new me. I like the new me. I think she's actually a bit better than the old me. I feel like I've got a lot more empathy and understanding than what I did before, and patience. And I think I'm a lot more stronger than what I was before. So I feel like to not have the expectation to go back to pre-pregnancy you, and instead to get to know the new you, and to kind of work out where that kind of falls with like your new style. And I think it's kind of like a fun time to reinvent yourself. So instead of seeing it as like a bad thing, think of it as like a positive thing and as an exciting thing. My next tip is to get out of your head what you think a mum should wear, because there are no rules. I wish there were mum rules, because it would make life so much easier. But I very much fell into this trap even before I had Penelope. So when I was pregnant, and I was pregnant during the summer, I was thinking, well, what should I be wearing as like, a pregnant person? And then when I became a mum, I was thinking, well, a mum can't wear that, but who cares? There's no rules. But what it is adapting your wardrobe to make it more practical. So for me, I love shorts and I love little skirts, but sometimes these aren't the most practical things for running after a toddler. So now I love skorts, which is like skirts and shorts. So they are a lot more practical. I do things like I put cycling shorts on underneath my dresses. I wear trainers a lot more just because they're more practical and easier to run about in. I love my Birkenstocks. So yeah, it's kind of working out what works for you and adapting your favourite kind of items to make them work for your wardrobe. My next tip is to try and find inspiration for styles and outfits that you like. So maybe when you feel ready to start thinking about dressing in different things, then definitely get some inspiration, because I find just wandering around the shops aimlessly or just browsing online never actually works. I think it is much more productive to have something in mind that you're looking for. So I go on like Instagram, Pinterest, even when I'm just out and about, if I see someone's outfit that I like, I make a little note in my notes section, which is a little bit sad, but it works, because then I have a list of outfit ideas, or I have photos of outfit ideas, and they either help me when I'm getting dressed in the morning, when I can be like, oh, that looks nice together, let's get those. Or if I'm shopping for something, I can be like, oh, I've seen a lot of outfits with like a striped top recently, so maybe I need to add that into my wardrobe. And I think it's also really good to do this when you're building a new wardrobe. My next tip is to declutter your wardrobe. Now I know this takes time and energy, which is what as a mum we don't have a lot of. But if you do get some inspiration to do this, then definitely do, because I feel taking things out of your wardrobe and only keeping in it things that you love and that you wear. I have a bit of a rule that if I haven't worn things for the past year, or I haven't worn things for the previous season, so say for example, if I get my summer stuff out and I didn't wear it for last summer, I know I'm probably not going to wear it this summer. So by clearing out things that I'm not really too bothered about means that you're going to have a wardrobe full of things that you do actually wear and that you do actually love. So it just makes things a lot easier for choosing outfits in the morning, because we want dressing and choosing outfits to be as quick and easy as possible, because if you're like me, you don't have a lot of time in the morning. You usually got a little toddler shouting mummy, or you're running around upstairs and you're trying to keep an eye on her whilst getting dressed. So you want things to be as easy as possible, and I feel like by having more of a streamlined wardrobe, this does that, definitely. My next tip is to use places like Vinted as a great place to add things into your wardrobe for a discounted price. Maternity pay is absolutely shocking. Or if you're like me, you're self-employed and you've not had as much time to work since having a baby, so your income's massively taken a nosedive, then this is a great way of adding things into your wardrobe when you haven't got a huge budget to spend. Something that I wish I'd done was I ended up buying a couple of pairs of jeans on ASOS when I was probably about 4 weeks postpartum. And I did have a bit more disposable income when Penelope was born, but I think looking back, I should have gone on somewhere like Vinted and picked up some secondhand jeans, because it would have just been a lot more cost effective, because those jeans that I bought, they fitted me for a little while and then they now don't fit me anymore. So yeah, so it definitely would have been more cost effective. So yeah, getting some secondhand jeans, but doing that just by buying some jeans in a couple of the bigger sizes really helped me to feel a little bit more normal again. My next tip is, if you are breastfeeding, then to try not to stress too much about buying specific breastfeeding items, just because I have found that a lot of the time most things you wear are quite breastfeeding friendly, and I found that some of my favourite things to actually like breastfeeding has been like baggy t-shirts, just because it's easier to kind of like lift up, and I find that you have a bit more privacy than like with a shirt. And I definitely used to get really stressed in the early days, especially when we started to come out of lockdown, because I was thinking, oh my god, what am I going to wear, like what's easy to breastfeed in, and it would really stress me out. And now I kind of think, oh, like pretty much unless you've got a turtleneck or a really high neck, you can pretty much breastfeed in anything. So to try to not stress yourself out too much by thinking, oh my god, I can't wear this, I can't wear that, and just test things out and see kind of, you know, what works and what doesn't. This playsuit, by the way, is a recent buy from Zara, and it's really lovely, and it's a really breastfeeding friendly piece. And I think this is also really flattering as well if you are quite newly postpartum, because the wrap, it's really comfortable, and it's really flattering like across the tummy. So I feel like it would be a nice item to wear if kind of you've still got a bit of a bump and whilst your bump's going down, because my tummy felt very strange after giving birth, and I didn't really want anything to be like too tight or restricting on any of this kind of area. So I feel like this would have been absolutely perfect, especially as we're kind of coming in this summer too. My next tip is to dress in whatever makes you feel good. So I feel like this is one of my number one things when it comes to dressing. I feel like it's hard when you're a mum because you don't have a lot of time for yourself and you don't do a lot of things for yourself anymore. So something I always try to do is put on an outfit that makes me feel good. I just feel like it makes me feel a little bit better. And sometimes that does involve making a little bit more effort with my outfit. So sometimes it is very easy to shove on some like a leggings and a sweatshirt. It doesn't always necessarily make me feel good. So I try to put on things that kind of make me feel, I don't know, it's very cheesy, but like $1 million, if that makes sense. And I think you also kind of have to be a bit more confident and not worry about what other people think. I feel like since having my little girl, I have developed quite a thick skin, and I don't really care about what anyone else thinks anymore, just because it's just not important. Like there's so many other important things in the world than what another mum thinks of my outfit as soft play. So I think I kind of just take that out of my head and instead focus on wearing something that makes me feel good, because it just does me the world of good, and I feel like it's good for like your mental health. So yeah, so definitely kind of keep things in your wardrobe that make you feel good, but obviously it's also okay to have the outfits that you just shove on, like the sweatshirts and the leggings, the easy outfits, just because they are so practical and easy to throw on. But I just find that if I need a little bit of a boost, wearing something, you know, making a little bit more effort, like say for example wearing like, you know, some kind of trousers with a little top, or now that we're in summer, you know, wearing like a dress. Do you know what I mean? Things like that just kind of make a world of difference to how you feel. I think I'm going to leave things there because I feel like I have just literally rambled at you, and I hope that this has made some kind of sense. But what I would just say is, like I said, is to just give yourself time and get to know this new you, and to try to not put too much pressure on yourself. You have literally just had a baby, you've been through something absolutely major, and then even if you are like me, you're a couple of years down the road and you're still struggling with like your style, it's crazy being a mum. Like we have just got so many priorities and a million things going through our heads, and we have so little time to prioritise for ourselves, that it is no wonder that we kind of feel stressed out when it comes to dressing, and our bodies have changed. And yeah, it's a lot to deal with. So be kind to yourself and don't put too much pressure. Definitely try and find inspiration where you can. Declutter your wardrobe, use places like Vinted to add things in, and just have fun with it. You know, I kind of feel like since having Penelope, I want to kind of have a bit more fun with my clothes. I feel like before I had a baby, I cared way too much what people thought, and I think now I just think, who cares? Like, it doesn't actually matter, and a lot of the time no one is actually looking at you, they're thinking about their own stuff. So to try to not overthink it too much. But I kind of hope these tips have helped. I've got a lot of kind of videos, like outfit videos, and talking more about kind of mum fashion on my TikTok and on my Instagram. So definitely go and have a look over there. I do a lot of kind of mum friendly outfits all the time pretty much. So hopefully you can find some outfit inspiration on there that you like. But I hope you're doing really well, and I'll speak to you soon.